I was trying to think of a clever way to start this video, and the only thing I'm going to say is this showcase gave me a headache trying to record it. Before I start this video though, huge shout out to my man Kaizo for allowing me to show off his Kokuri. Without him, this video wouldn't have been possible. Everything about Kokuri is buffing up your team's damage and lowering crit res down, which sounds really good on paper, but like then you start looking at it more and you're like, wait, she doesn't do anything else. She just buffs up. Oh, this is bad. Literally everything. Skill, 30 arc gauge. Art, crit res down, 20% DR down on the enemy. True art, fire res down based on the number of fire allies on your team. That could be really good, by the way. That's going to be really, really potent if you're running a mono fire team. Super art, 200% crit damage buff for everybody. Doesn't matter if you're fire, dart, water, doesn't matter. Everybody gets 200% crit damage up. Also, her slots aren't too bad either, with the support slot and the 2 magic slots, if you want to know best in slot items here for her. But one of them will actually be her true weapon. Her true weapon is insanely good for mono fire. If you don't want to use Kokuri's true weapon, that's perfectly fine. You can also just opt in with any AoE archgen item and be golden. 5-star magic, as always, go in with something with the burst archgen. Unless you're nuking with her, then you probably want to go some type of like damage res, magic res down, you know, something like that. 4-star magic. If you have something to give you arc gauge, then use that. If you have something to just give you more damage up, then use that. Press slots on this character. Very simple, very easy. Attack up, arc gauge. She's supposed to be a little bit of this like hybrid attacker, so make sure she has attack up. Oh, one thing I will say though that's kind of cool is that I guess they wanted Kokuri to be a 10 because her defense stat is at 3,200. Do you know who else has 3,200 defense? Freaking Volti LR. Like what the— So let's talk animations before we go into the gameplay. I know it's been a minute since we saw animations, which is cool and everything, but I want you guys to really look at the art and the super art. The art matters a lot because this actually applies the crit res down. It takes a minute for it to happen. As you see, she has to jump in the air and then she lands. And from what I understand, she doesn't do damage, or at least from what I could tell, she doesn't do damage on this art until she actually lands with the ball. I think it's a bit faster than Ainz's crit res down. It's a cute animation though, I'll give it that. It's a really nice animation. The super art also has really cool animations tied to it as well. Now, it takes a minute for this to come out, which kind of sucks because this is her main damaging tool. And in nuke situations, I feel like you kind of just want this to happen instantaneously. The good thing is that the buffs do actually happen instantaneously. Here's the issue though. When we get into gameplay with this character, I want to say for 90% of the time, especially when you're using her in nukes, which is going to be what you want to use her in majority of the time, she's the most super art bot I've ever seen. Literally no other character in the game I think is just as much of a super art bot as Kokuri is. And what do I mean by super art bot? I mean that is literally the only thing you want to use with her. It doesn't matter if you want to use her with like this unit or this character, or what about that one? Doesn't matter, you're still going to be using the super art every single time, which isn't bad, but like it's very one-dimensional. And I mean, it works, right? As you see in the nukes right now, it's doing work. She's doing damage. Well, she's not doing damage. Everyone else is doing damage. As I stated before, her super art being like super lengthy makes it to where, it doesn't really work out like that, you know? Her damage is always low because half the time her animation isn't even going whenever everyone else's damage is actually popping off. Even if she's technically like the main nuker to an extent, like as you see here in Oldius, we actually tried to get a nuke off, and we did get a nuke off here, but like how and everyone else dealt more damage because they're just faster, which I don't know, it just like kind of really bugs me and really rubs me the wrong way that this character should be performing a bit better than what she is. I even thought maybe using her in sustain would kind of like be where you would want to use her, like against Emmy, but it still wasn't like that impactful to me. I think the issue lies in this unit just being way too old. This exact unit design is already being redone, and we're about to have Kokuri re-released, listen to me, re-released this week, okay? Technically, she's already been re-released, which she was Sunraku. That was the next iteration of Kokuri to an extent, but not entirely, because Kokuri also had crit damage buffs and everything like that, so it wasn't like a one-to-one. One character that is almost a one-to-one to Kokuri is actually freaking Hoka. The art reduces damage res and also applies crit res down. The true art is exactly her art. Crit res down, and instead of having damage res down, it's water res down. The super art gives everybody crit damage. The super art for Hoka gives crit damage, but this time it also archgens. You see what I mean? Like, it's just, she was like the first iteration of this style. You know, her main strength is just having a 200% crit damage buff is not enough because it's already being power crit. It's just, I don't see why this character was the way she is. Even being released, you know, that time ago was about like 8 months, 9 months since Kokuri came out in JP. this unit really should have had more. She should have had some other type of supporting capabilities in her kit. The fact that her super art is just crit damage up, a little bit lackluster. It really is, especially considering that nothing else in the kit kind of like helps mitigate that. It works with Ainz because Ainz does so much more. That's the point I'm getting at here. This character just literally drives me freaking insane. The only other thing that I will say that's somewhat good about Kokuri that I haven't seen really too many people talk about, she does have all allies magic res 20% up, which if you do use this in like mono fire with Sunraku and Summer Iris, they give just flat damage res on top of this magic res and you're fighting a magic boss, you know, that could actually be pretty beneficial if you can keep Kokuri above 50% HP, which you probably will because you're going to have Valentine's Day Priscilla on that team as well in the best situations. But even with all that being said, she drives me insane. This unit is hands down one of the worst Ascended characters I've ever used, and that's saying a lot. If you have the other options like Sunraku, or if you just need like a crit damage buffer and you have Ainz or you have Hoka that's coming out or you're planning on getting Hoka, there's literally no reason to have Kokuri. Even in mono fire, she doesn't even fit in mono fire. She doesn't. It's hard for her to fit in mono fire. Like, apart from that one situation where I said that you maybe want a bit of extra magic res against a certain fight. So point is, unless you want to use the crit damage buff or crit res down on an enemy and you don't have Sunraku or anybody else that can apply a crit res down, then you can use Kokuri. Kokuri will function, and that's all I can say. She is functional. I would love to have seen this unit actually get a bit more love here, because as like one of the final characters in the Ninja Saga, or I think she actually is the final character in the Ninja Saga, isn't she? Very big letdown. Very, very big letdown here. So yeah. Thank you all for hanging out though. It's me, boy P. Tell me down below what you all think about Kokuri. You guys like her, you guys don't. If you enjoy this, highly check out either one of the other videos on my screen right now. Great content, guarantee you love them. Oh, and one more thing before you leave, don't forget to drink water.